Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode here at Last Week in Geek, the video podcast from Manly Battleships. I'm Mr. Panda.
And I'm Roxstar.
We just got back from AnimeCon and are excited to do another show for you on another week, talking about the things that happened last week. That's the title of the show. Starting off, we have our normal bracket of trailers and teasers, things coming out in the world of media that you might be interested in. First of which is Sadako, based off of the infamous Ring Saga from Japan. There's not yet an international release date for it, but it looks kinda cool if you're into the old Ring. Next is a live-action adaptation of the manga of the same name, Kingdom, which is about a lowly thief who rises to become a warrior, and with a band of intrepid adventurers, goes and rescues somebody. I don't know. All I know is that it's, like, in Chinese, there's a big epic battle that looks like Dynasty Warriors, and there's a really ill-fitting, like, electronic music.
Made by Funimation and the same director that did the live-action Bleach from last year.
Of course it's by Funimation. I remember when Funimation brought out that Genghis Khan film, and I was like, why? That comes out August 16th.
You can expect a new Lupin, this time in CG.
Hooray, Lupin the Third. CG.
No, it's not Lupin the Third. It's Lupin 3, the first.
So Lupin the Third, the first. That is what I'm hearing.
Lupin 3.
You know that means Lupin the Third, right?
Okay, sure.
It's in Moonspeak. Don't try to tell me how to translate Moonspeak. You don't know Moonspeak.
I don't think you know Moonspeak either.
I know enough to know it's Lupin the Third.
The CG looked really nice.
Campy, in a way, but in a way that works to the style of the original artist, good old Monkey Punch.
Who unfortunately did pass away earlier this year. But he did get to see this movie, like, in production, and he really liked it. So, I mean, that's gotta count for something. There is no international release date for this, but it is coming out December 6th in Japan. Interestingly enough, Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park is making a anime music video. This is not the group's first time doing an anime music video. They did this for Breaking the Habit back in the day. And even Mike mentioned that there is some connection with Linkin Park and music videos. I don't know if you watch a lot of AMVs, but a lot of them put them to Linkin Park. He kind of just wanted to go into the spirit of that.
20 years too late, but good effort. Not to mention, Interstellar 5555 already set everyone's expectations for what a commercially released AMV should look like, right? You may remember Filthy Frank, the internet YouTube star who took the world of comedy by storm with his filthy pranks and filthy videos and filth. Just mountains of filth. After officially retiring, I think it's like a year and a half ago now, right?
Yeah. We miss you, Frank. Where are your memes and shit posts?
Despite that, he has continued the music portion of his career as Joji. We're pleased to announce he received his first platinum certification of a song from the RIAA. That's for Slow Dancing in the Dark. He has a really cool music video for it out on YouTube you can check out. We'll post a link to that below. It's got 78 million views already, so not as much as PewDiePie, but pretty close.
Congratulations.
Why can't PewDiePie get platinum certified? PewDiePie, you need to work on that.
And I'm being told we have some breaking news out of Dragoncon. I don't know if that was necessary. We just heard that there is a case of Legionnaires disease in the Sheraton Hotel.
Downtown Atlanta.
Their official response right now is, the safety of our fans is a top priority. We are currently working with the Sheraton management to understand the situation, the solutions, and the time frames involved. Currently, I believe it's kind of shut down. You can't get into the hotel.
The pool's closed due to Legionnaires' disease.
Here's hoping that everyone's okay, because getting sick, this is what I'm saying. Con plague is a thing.
I don't think it's really... We've talked about Legionnaires' disease on the show before.
Yes, we have. I'm just...
My childhood doctor was the man who discovered Legionnaires' disease.
I was being facetious about a chronic illness panel.
An executive at Toonami has finally gotten fed up with criticism and has responded to allegations of censorship of Food Wars on Toonami. He has said, "I'll answer this for future posterity. I have nothing to do with any edits made to any of our shows. That's entirely in the hands of our Standards and Practices Department. I don't know why one scene might be edited and another may not. They tell us what needs to go. Sometimes we appeal, sometimes we win the appeal, and sometimes we don't. Either way, complaining to me about edits won't help you. Sorry. It might be worth noting that while Kill la Kill, which is a commonly cited source of saying, why didn't you censor this in Kill la Kill? Kill la Kill doesn't necessarily present its risque stuff in an explicitly sexual manner, while as with Food Wars, when a scene happens and people have their orgasmic reactions, the connotation is clearly meant to be a sexual parallel. Kind of like Yakitate Japan back in the day, but kicked up a couple notches, if you've ever wanted to make the comparison point.
And we have Hasbro in the news. Crowdfunding for one of the largest Transformers ever. This comes out of HasLabs.
This is the largest Transformer toy ever.
Yes. HasLabs.
Not one of,
No.
the largest.
Oh, did I say one of?
It is the largest Transformer toy ever.
I meant the largest.
Appropriately.
Well, it's 27 inches tall and can transform into a planet
Good!
that will be at 30 inches diameter. It's going to be huge. Apparently the last holder was Fortress Maximus with their Transformer, but so HasLabs is crowdfunding for this huge Transformer. And it also has a very salty price point if you're thinking about buying it. It's $574.99.
That's as much as a convention attendance.
And it will be available in early 2021. If you do want to pledge and go to their Kickstarter, you have to go to the HasLab section of HasbroPulse.com.
Unicron just standing there around. I hope they put in like little voice prompts like, in the voice of Orson Welles though, look at these Transformers. They can't even fly. I can fly. I can eat planets. Literally. Insight Comics is bringing out a biography of David Bowie's life in a graphic novel / comic book form. It's going to be entitled Stardust, Ray Guns, and Moonage Daydreams. That's going to hit shelves allegedly January 2020. So you can't get it on Christmas Day, but you can pre-order it, presumably, because everyone loves pre-orders.
Well, we don't know because Insight Comics is having their own problems. However, if you do need your Bowie fix and you cannot wait till that day, remember, we are doing a David Bowie panel at Otakon!
Self-promotion! Self-promotion! David Bowie, like some cat from Japan. Being held in the AMV Hall. I think it's Friday night. I don't remember. Our schedule will be up on Facebook sometime next week after BonsaiCon.
Romy Hoshino is a 28-year-old who got arrested for uploading manga to the website Manga Mura. Specifically, they traced down a chapter of the One Piece manga. I think it was chapter 866. God, One Piece has a lot of chapters. That he uploaded May 29th of 2017. Apparently, the amount of loss from this one website was 320 billion yen, which is about 2.9 billion US dollars.
Thereabouts. Of course, they're going to pin all of that on a few arrests because that's all they can trace. This one guy who uploaded this one manga like 2 years ago. Incidentally, subsequent research by several different entities has combated the idea that piracy directly leads to some kind of financial loss. But be that as it may, clearly, guys, especially if you're in Japan, you shouldn't pirate manga. Really, you should just buy the books in general. I'll go ahead and admit that. But definitely don't pirate if you're in Japan, because they will arrest your butt. Voice actor Stephanie Sheh has made some comments on Twitter that have shed some light on a confusing trend for many people. Recently, if you actually take a look at AnimeCons.com, you'll notice that they recently put out a new article series talking about who has the most guest appearances at AnimeCons by year. And there's a steady decline across the board in voice actor appearances. This appears to have been explained partially by these tweets from Stephanie. She's talked about how work for voice actors has to remain fairly consistent in order for them to get increased demand for them to be at cons. But that comes at the cost of not always being able to go to conventions. And the conventions happen to be where they make their most money. A lot of voice actors are kind of stuck in this catch-22 situation where they need to work in order to stay in the good graces of the industry, and as well as get the work in the first place that gets them the popularity to get to conventions. Conventions, meanwhile, have slowly started peeling off paying appearance fees and are expecting voice actors to make a lot more of their money from doing signed autographs. Something that Stephanie isn't that comfortable with, but it has had to start doing out of necessity, because otherwise where is she going to make her money? The cons aren't paying the appearance fees. And then to compound this whole issue, voice actors frequently find it difficult to get permission to use prints of the characters they voice to sell. A lot of times they have to rely on headshots, which aren't quite as popular within the anime community. As you might imagine, a lot of the drive for the people is the characters that people voice, not necessarily the actor themselves all the time. It's a lot easier to identify with the character that you know and love. And not all of them are willing to put in whatever the cost is, or perhaps they just can't get permission in general. And I know a lot of voice actors in particular have started to kind of be hands off of fan art signings. So it just compounds the issue further.
Liberty City AnimeCon seems to be facing issues surrounding their guest, it seems. There's been complicated notions of whether Vic is appearing or not. Chuck Huber was announced, and now it seems he's been stripped of the website. But
no official comment has been made so far. His entry has just disappeared.
It's all been very confusing. We don't even know if Vic was even actually offered to go to Liberty City AnimeCon. That's just been kind of internet rumor at this point.
What's interesting about that is that he's listed as a guest for the web on the AnimeCons.com entry and has been struck as canceled, which is fine. But there's a distinct lack of official sources that he was ever on there. We were unable to confirm his presence via internet mirror sites or the Wayback Machine. Usually that's a very easy tool to kind of find past versions of websites. And I can't find any social media posts related to his announcement either. He probably had announced it at some point, but we can't seem to confirm from any official source that happened. Well, but the point is he's definitely not going.
Well, compounding the issue is the fact that it seems their Twitter has been kind of not active for a very long time, and they're only communicating through Facebook. And their only official comment on this is to check the guest list, and there will be no other official comment on it. It kind of seems that this is all coming up because of the deposition and Chuck Huber's name being brought up in the deposition and possibly being on Vic's side. It's all become very complicated and muddy at this point.
The suggestion is that Huber was acting as sort of an attempt at a mediating force between Vic's camp and the opposing camp that he is currently suing, and because of the potential sympathy he was expressing to Vic, that might be leading to him getting canceled at this venue or perhaps other venues. Of course, that's also tied to Huber's work for union-like action within the anime voice actor community. So there's a whole other echelon of stuff that we don't have time to go into today, but might also be connected to Huber. Huber also has seen a slight decline in the number of appearances, as well as I think. I mean, I don't know this for sure off the top of my head, but I feel like he hasn't done as much recently either.
Well, there was a rumor going around about him kind of being like soft blacklisted from certain areas, but again, that's just internet rumor. I don't know, muddy.
The next step in the world of con drama comes out of Tulsa. Tulsa in Tokyo, an anime convention in the city of the same name, is getting a lot of blowback based on how they mismanaged their convention. There's really no other way to put it. Like, even in the best case scenario, if there are facts that we are not privy to, this does not look good. It starts out with the venue was just too small. That's the first problem. So the dealers and artist hall had to be moved off-site to a second location, which happened to be a former Hobby Lobby. That itself isn't the issue. The issue is that this building was essentially abandoned and was undergoing retrofit, and that was not done.
They did not even clean up before setting up, leading to a huge layer of dust and even some rusty screws.
Exposed wiring, debris, all the good stuff.
Exposed piping.
Some attendees reported that the lighting was so poor they had to use phones to compensate. They couldn't bring any more lights in because of the potential fire hazard, though, as several people have commented, there were probably so many codes violations going on already by having them in there that they might as well have brought in more lights. Who the heck knows? Additional problems were reported by some attendees, including one individual who was wheelchair-bound who reported that the con-provided shuttle was not helping her. She had missed several shuttles because more able-bodied people just swamped the bus and no one on staff was there to provide assistance to people who needed access. In addition to that, one artist, after according to her jokingly highlighting some of the problems with the location for the Artist and Dealers Hall, was ejected from the convention ostensibly because in the agreement they had to agree to not badmouth the con.
Correct.
More fun from the convention circuit at this point.
Finally in the news, we have CBR trying to distance themselves from a very controversial post that was titled 20 cosplayers who clearly had no idea who they were cosplaying. In the post that was actually on a different website called thethings.com, there were all such of things such as body shaming, gatekeeping, and even ironically the fact that the writer of the article did not know what they were talking about for certain cosplays.
CBR has been in the middle of a rebranding. They don't want to be Comic Book Resource anymore. They want to be just CBR. And clearly, this is one more reason why they want to change their name up, so maybe people will forget about the faux pas that they're pulling. There was an official response from the website, correct?
There was an official response from the website on their Facebook page after they've deleted the offending post, stating their apology, basically, and then the comment about how they were trying very hard to investigate of who could have scheduled this post.
Apparently unaware that Facebook admins for pages can see the user who initiated a post behind the scenes.
Meaning you should know by now.
That's all we have for this episode of Last Week in Geek, ladies and gentlemen. Catch us at BonsaiCon this weekend, Otakon the following weekend, PsychoCon the following weekend, and then we have some new cons coming up in September and I believe October that we'll get to down the road. Until then, enjoy the video, enjoy some more videos on our YouTube channel. There's plenty there to go around, and we'll catch you later.
Goodbye!